Hey, I'm Jennifer, and it's my story about my professor having a crush on me. I was in high school at that time when my English professor had a crush on me. His name was James, and he had a nice physique. Whole school used to fancy him. He was so handsome that I could hardly imagine him to have a crush on me. I didn't realize it at first, but later I had clear signals of him having something about me. One day a boy was staring at me. James and I looked at him together. Later that day, he punished that boy for no reason. I understood that something is going on. I wanted to ask him why he did that, but I stopped myself from doing so. My friend Maria told me one day that he saw Sir James staring at me, but I told her, why would he stare at me? When I discussed that with my best friend Elizabeth, she said that you might have misunderstood. Why would he have a crush on a much younger high school girl when all of his colleagues are around him all the time, crying for his attention, and they are much hotter than you? I agreed and stopped observing Sir James for a few days and ignored all such thoughts. But one day we were having a test during the class, and I wasn't prepared for it at all. I was so worried that I almost cried. I was sitting blank in the text and didn't know any of the answers. Then suddenly Sir James, who was the invigilator for that test, came near me and asked, why am I sitting so numb and confused? I told him that I'm not prepared for the test, and I know nothing about this test. He slowly moved his finger at the sheet and spotted at the right option of the multiple-choice question and smiled at me. I looked at him with a gesture that, "Why are you doing that?" At which he just shook his head and asked me to just mark the right option. I marked it. Then he helped me complete all the multiple-choice questions. Before he moved away, helping me complete the test, he brought his lips near to my ears and said, "I can't see you sad and depressed." My heartbeat was beyond my control when I felt him that close to me. His fragrance was strong enough to melt my heart. He moved away smoothly, but I kept looking at him. When I was about to leave after the test time, he stopped me and said, "I can help you with the tests if you gave me your number." Oh my God, now my heartbeat was even faster. I gave him my number. But a relationship with my professor, is that fine? I asked myself. What if it isn't about a relationship? It's just normal for a professor to help his students in work, I told myself. And if he takes my phone number, what's wrong with that? I questioned myself. I told my best friend about that, and she was surprised too. I told her that I don't consider it right with my professor, but she said, "What's wrong? You can use him to get good grades." I gave it a thought and realized that I'm not good at English too. What if I used him? But he was too hot to be just used for good grades. I went home and waited for him to text, but he didn't text. I waited for him so long. But why was I? Why was I waiting for him? I'm about to use him to get grades only. Then why? I asked myself. The next day, when I went to school, I wanted to know why he didn't text me. I searched for him in the entire school. Later I came to know that he was absent. I was disappointed to wait for another day. The next day he came. When I saw him, I rushed at him to ask why he hadn't contacted me. Before I asked, he told me that yesterday he met an accident in which his phone crashed, due to which he lost my number. Also, he injured his leg as well, due to which he was absent yesterday. During the lecture, we blushed at each other a few times, and I don't know why that was happening, but I liked it. He went home and texted me. I was just so happy to see his text. We started chatting. He told me much about him, that he lives alone in his home and his family lives back in Los Angeles. He told me that he's having a difficult time managing himself due to his injuries and is going to stay at home for a few days, as he is in immense pain, and he came only to take my number again. Then he took leave for a week. We used to chat the whole night, and I started missing him in just 2 days. I told him I'm having issues with my homework for English. He said he wouldn't be able to come, and he told me that he was having problems managing his food too. So why don't you come to my place and cook something for me, and I'll help you with your homework? I was shocked and didn't know what to tell him, but I also wanted to go personally. So the next day after school I went to his house. We were all alone. This made me uncomfortable at first, but then when we talked about college and stuff, I felt better. Then he helped me with my homework and I cooked for him. He was such a gentleman, and hot too. I kept looking at him when he was teaching, as he looked stunning in his blue shirt. He told me that he had a crush on me for a long time, and wanted to tell me but didn't dare to do so. I had started liking him too and wanted to tell him, but I just blushed and went back home. I went home and I was so happy. I didn't know how and to whom I could express my feelings. I came back and called my best friend Elizabeth about that. She was surprised, as she didn't believe me till now, that he had a crush on me, and kept saying that it's just normal among teachers and students. She tried to keep away from him, giving too many reasons. I didn't know why she was so much against him. She seemed to be suspicious and didn't give me good vibes. Suddenly, Professor James stopped replying to me, and a week had already passed, and he didn't return to college. I was pissed off and worried that something might have happened to him. I went to his house but couldn't find him. I waited for him a lot. During this time, a schoolfellow John asked me out for a date, but I refused. I was waiting for Professor James to reply. One day he texted me. I got furious. Where was he? Why did he disappear suddenly and all that? He told me that my best friend told him everything about the time we spent, and that I was using him just to get good marks. That broke his heart, and he made his transfer to another college, and didn't want to see me ever again. I tried to tell him, but he was too angry to listen to me. He kept saying, how does she know everything? And she sent screenshots about him being used as a source for grades only. I wanted to explain. He blocked me. I didn't realize that Elizabeth was just stopping me because she liked him, and she was jealous of me having him. She took his number from my phone and told him that I was about to spoil his reputation in the school and that I was using him. I was devastated by this breach of trust, by my best friend. I cried as I had lost my best friend and a sincere and loving person at the same time. I was depressed at what had happened to me. Tears rolled down my cheeks the whole night. I remained in stress, depression and anxiety. I slapped Elizabeth on the face and told Maria everything that had happened. We both started hanging out a lot and became best friends. She was so sincere and loyal to me since the very beginning of our friendship, which I didn't realize then. Meanwhile, I started dating John too. He supported me a lot during these hard times. He's a marvelous, loyal and loving person. It's well said that everything happens for a good cause, and so was in my case. I realized the reality of life and got John the love of my life. Maria, who is my true best friend. Quite a devastating story, but all is well if it ends well. How much do you like the story? Tell in the comments section, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe and press the bell icon to get more notifications for such interesting stories.